Beerus, my lord. Is there something you wish to say?
Here it comes.
What it do, y'all? It's your boy. y'all get to see the premiere, the re-premiere of the King's Court. A kind of an offshoot from our regular streaming show that we have on Wednesdays. Every so often, I get tired of the crowded voices, and sometimes your boy got to go ahead on, pull a sidebar and take it to the King's Court and do a one-on-one with y'all and have a conversation. And we don't cover every topic just because we can't fit them all into the show. But this particular topic is near and dear to your boy heart as a card-carrying member and the vice president of the Black Men Don't Cheat Club. You ain't got to put that, you ain't got to put obscenities up just yet. I know there's going to be a few of them. But not just yet. I felt that this particular topic was near and dear to not only the heart and mind of myself, but many of y'all have been going crazy all week over the news that Jaxn, Derrick Jaxn, was out in these streets dipping his hot topics in these lonely women's lives because they broke up with their boyfriends because of his advice. Now, I'm not going to get too deep into what he did or didn't do, because tonight's topic is more so focused on tainted love gurus. It seems like there's a lot of people giving advice out in these streets as to how to operate within relationships, and y'all run with them because they go viral. They on these social medias, and y'all don't really fact check if these people have any credentials. But Jaxn built a very lucrative. This dude was running workshops and selling books. Kevin Samuels has, I think, 5,000 people tuning in to his show just to ask him for advice, sending him hundreds of dollars to support his platform. So these people do have some say in how the culture is moved when it comes to relationships. Well, I'm no expert. Your boy ain't no expert. Back in my day, I used to run through them too. But I'm a better man now, thanks to y'all. You got to look now. They do tell all my business. But I'm a better man now, and I felt like I was in a position to be able to have this conversation with you, the viewers. So I brought an expert, a clinical therapist.
Oh Lord.
Yeah. I'm putting you up there. Also, one half of the amazing All the Smoke podcast. Give it up for my homegirl Meek. And of course, her lovely co-host. And me and her go back almost a couple decades. So you know, if y'all want trade secrets, definitely ask Chan, because God bless you. But Chan, give it up for the other half of All the Smoke. They are both joining me tonight because as a man, I have opinions on all of this. But I wanted to get a black woman's opinion, and I got two for the price of one, which is always in my lane. Listen, you show up for one and get two. baby. I don't need no advice for that. So we're gonna jump into this. But first, as always, I would love for you guys to take a second and share this stream to all the places that you think this conversation would carry some weight. We want people to call into the show. We want people to give their opinions. I'm going to be playing clips, and we're going to be talking about a lot of the comments that have been made leading up to this week. I did a straw poll about who you, the viewer, thought was more toxic, Kevin Samuels or Derrick Jaxn. And I'm going to be honest with you, the results surprised me. We're going to talk about that as well. We're going to field these phone calls. Meek is going to give her expertise, and Chan is going to be right there to add in her 2 cents, because them together is more value than my opinion, I personally think. But, you know, I'm here to add a little bit of commentary and to keep things flowing nicely. The call-in number is below. Also, I like to say this episode of King's Court is brought to you by She Essentials. She Essentials, everything you need for those ashy elbows, those chipped heels, that broken skin. Listen, I need y'all to go ahead on. Hold on, let me rotate this thing right, because my beard didn't connect 2 months ago. I got the beard balm, and let me tell you something. You see that patchy part? I didn't use it on that part, but this part right here, this part is all She Essentials. So I need y'all to stop playing around and go ahead on. Go to She Essentials. Just go ahead on. You can type that into the Facebook search, and you can support Black-owned, woman-owned, and the product is amazing. I promise you. You will not be disappointed. Tell her your boy King Kurt Live sent you over there, and I do believe they have a sale going on now. I don't want to quote that, because if she lose money, she'll beat me up. So make sure you go.
Period.
Yo, I don't want to cause no problems in these streets. But go ahead on, go check that out, and definitely go support the sister. Thank her for sponsoring this particular episode. Now, let's get to the nitty gritty. We if you're unfamiliar, first, you know what, ladies, let me ask y'all. Are you familiar with Derrick Jaxn and Kevin Samuels?
Unfortunately, sir.
All right. Uncuffed, what is your opinion of both men?
So first I'll say that I think that both Kevin Samuels and Derrick Jaxn are two dudes on the same spectrum, on the same continuum, and I think they're just at different ends of it. And so I think that they both have a target audience, and you can clearly tell what audience is being targeted by each of them. And so I think that they're just both the same type of toxic, shitty dude, just on different ends of the spectrum.
Okay, how about you, Meek?
I can see that. Quite honestly, I've never really given much stake into Kevin Samuels. I can't get past his delivery. I think he gets off on being disrespectful. I think he goes behind the scenes and kind of jerks a little yummy off, because it just seemed like the type of bull, right? I don't see him being someone who anyone would take seriously outside the guise of this computer screen, right? Like, I really don't. I don't really know how he got started or what his credentials are, nor is it really relevant to me. But I think that if you're into a little BDSM, maybe you'll call into his show and get the lashing that you're looking for, because his script is the same every single time. He's so unoriginal with his thoughts that it's kind of like laughable. So I think that my exposure to him is basically scrolling through social media, clicking a few seconds that I can stomach, laughing a little, being oddly confused that why anybody would participate in this shit, and then, you know, kind of keep it moving. Like, I literally have zero investment in what this man has to say. And, you know, he's getting his coin how he gets his coin, and the people who like it, you know, you like it, I love it type shit. Derrick Jaxn, though, I actually have a kind of interesting perspective. I think it's interesting, at least on him. I care less about what this man has done in his private life. I think that, like Simone said, the audience that he's pandering to is going to get something from him, right? They're there for a particular thing. They want to get something from him, and they do, right? Some of the things that he said is like off the wall ridiculous. Some of the other things he said is actually pretty common sense shit, I think, and, you know, relevant. And you take from it what you will. He's no different to me than your local pastor. He's no different. Hell, I'm a fucking clinical therapist. I talk to couples all the time who are married. I've never been married a day in my life. Should I not be, you know, should I not have a voice? Should I not have, you know, an opinion? You know, I paid a lot of money for this shit. Should they not want to listen to what I have to say if they feel like they find benefit in what I'm discussing? Right. So you kind of like take from it what you will and throw the rest of the shit back. You know what I'm saying? So like, it just, you know, like Simone said, opposite ends of a shitty spectrum.
Well, it's funny that you say that, because a lot of people in a consensus feel like both of them have their negative aspects. Even in chat, everybody's talking about how Kevin Samuels, he just tells the truth, and it doesn't matter if it's a man or a woman. Yeah. There is something to be said for tact and canter when you're giving advice, but we'll get into the weeds with that in a second. One of the things that I want to bring up first as we get started, Kevin Samuels is he's brand new on the scene. Now, if you're unfamiliar with him, I'm going to play a clip to help you kind of get the gist of his advice style and why everybody thinks he's such a savage. So bear with me for 1 second. Let's whew, how hard do I want to go? All right, let's start with this one.
23 is not young when you have a child. You're over here breathing like a petulant teenager.
I just feel like you're not really hearing me. You're not listening to how
Why did I do that? Because that would have gone on for 5 hours.
Woo! Yeah. Kevin Samuels don't pull no punches in these streets when he's talking to those that call in to his show. Now, Derrick Jaxn he's got a different approach. He has a different style. He also has muscles. Derrick Jaxn has been typecast by a lot of men as what I guess the new word now in these streets is simp, a profiteer of telling women exactly what they want to hear and demonizing men as a whole. Now, you know, that could be subject to debate. We don't have to get into the weeds about that, but I'm going to give you a clip of Derrick Jaxn's style of advice.
A woman, so she should acknowledge his effort to be faithful, right? Well, he also said something that kind of tickled me. He said, if a guy slips up and cheats, it shouldn't outweigh all the good that he's done up until that point, right? But by woman logic, it somehow does, and he doesn't understand why. I'm gonna tell you why. First off, to say that, you know, cheating shouldn't outweigh all the good that you've done, is also to say there's an amount of good you can do to deserve to cheat, which is bullshit. And I shouldn't even have to explain that, because vice versa, we will catch a fucking fit and, decide to be hoes for the rest of our life if a woman were to ever break our heart, no matter how much good she's done. But anywho.
So you kind of see the difference in advice. Ladies, to you, which one is more conducive for helping someone?
Honestly, I'd say neither. Honestly, I think that one of the things that kind of gets missed is these folks who just want to proclaim themselves, experts in a thing. And I think that actual experts have degrees and certifications. And I'm not saying that it makes, their words more valuable, but it certainly does lend a little more credibility. And I think that they both blur the lines between ethics and what is appropriate, what should be handled by an actual therapist or counselor. And so like Meek said earlier, if you're just looking for, quick advice or shits and giggles on the internet, yeah, cool. But I think a lot of the women that call into both shows are really looking for solid, concrete help, guidance, and answers. And it does us a disservice when we, take real lived experience of people going through trauma and display it on social media, on the internet for laughter and fodder. That's just my take, but.
Ooh, look, Chandra Simone, let me just say this. You hit the nail on the head, because I want to pull up this screenshot that I took from one of his fans. She said, I watched all your YouTube videos. You had me leaving my man when you was doing the same ish. Make it make sense. Now, for somebody who's looking for that person to kind of guide them, advise them, obviously, Derrick Jaxn is, to quote Charles Barkley, I'm not a role model for your kids. He's not supposed to be a role model for women. But how is his advice detrimental, especially with cases like that?
So I definitely agree with Simone in the respect that, these people shouldn't be held on this high pedestal or to this particular esteem the way they seem to have been done, especially Derrick Jaxn, particularly because he doesn't have to report to any ethics board, right? I do, right? Every single couple years or so, they're coming at me like, show us that you're still qualified to do this thing, right? This is something that I have to manage every couple years or so, right? Even after the degrees, even after the certifications, even after the credentialing, they're still coming at me like, again, show us, right? Show and prove. There's no one to be accountable to for these internet quote unquote sensations, right? There's no one. And so I think that the advice is only as detrimental as the person receiving it. I don't think that Derrick Jaxn necessarily gives, the worst advice. I do see some of the criticisms, especially that men seem to have towards him, at how he seems to pander towards women. He definitely does have a demeaning kind of attitude towards men. But the young lady said, you had me leaving my man when you were doing the same thing. Yo, sis, was you unhappy with what your man was doing? Period. Right? Yeah. Did whatever he say, bring some awareness and insight into your relationship. I've never had a client, not one time, question, the relationships that I was in, whether I was in a relationship, whether I was married.
That's valid. That's valid.
Anything like that. They take what they take, like I said, and trust that, I'm giving them guidance, right? That's the role that I'm playing in their particular lives. But again, I've been licensed and credentialed to do this. Right. And so you have to consider your source. I don't feel bad. I don't feel badly for any of the women who have taken their advice, because quite honestly, you get what you quote unquote pay for.
Ooh, and if it's free,
look, it is what it is. You knew what it was when you asked, right? And so again, I go back to my original point. Was your man doing things unfavorable in your relationship? Did the information you get from this man help you make a more informed decision? And did you do so?
Ooh.
Yes, period.
Okay. Now, to kind of your point, it's interesting how you were talking about the derogatory way most men feel about Derrick Jaxn. And honestly, we already got people calling in. Just give me a couple more seconds, guys. Trust me. We'll get to the phone lines in 1 second. The outcry of men who were like, got him, finally. Listen, I'm telling you right now. Look, if y'all can't read that, it says, sir, the one called Jaxn has been taken down. Future was like, excellent. And now for Russell. That's the last.
Alone.
Listen, no, look, the memes that men came up with.
Yo.
Listen, the toxic Mount Rushmore is in these streets. And the funny thing is,
yes, that one.
That's the part that kills me. But point blank, somebody dropped this in the comments of one of the polls, and this was hands down my favorite meme that I saw. Not only did Derrick Jaxn take a L, but Kevin Samuels is being lauded as the next god of misogynistic and toxic men. So basically,
is this your king?
Is this your king? Is this your king? And I mean, thank God for the internet, because man, what would I do with my day?
That's what they said.
Yo, and it is interesting how, this has become a really relevant topic amongst the genders, because this is literally split down the middle on both sides. A lot of people feel like you said, Meek, he gave, the source might be tainted, but the advice was still good.
Some of it.
Kevin Samuels is his advice is tainted, but he is a viable source because he's honest. You almost like that is what people look. I'll bring the receipts. Look, this is one of the comments that were brought up. Kevin Samuels isn't living a lie though, and he's actually trying to help some women get out of their own delusional way of thinking.
I'm not sure what people listen to him and get help from it. I've not listened to any of his episodes and gleaned anything resembling help. I think that, and I'll just jump right out here and say it. I think that anytime you have a platform that gets to openly, loudly, and in a celebratory way demean women, particularly Black women, I think it becomes formulaic. That there will be success. So I think that he's capitalizing off of, a general feeling of undeservedness of Black women, that we don't quote unquote deserve things, that we don't deserve quote unquote good partners, or
that's that
of the life. What I will say is, for the record, that misogyny and patriarchy are tools of white supremacy.
Period.
I'll put that out there. And as the good Auntie Audre Lorde says, you can't dismantle the master's house using the master's tools. And so anytime we get into Black spaces where we talk about the interrelationships between Black men and Black women, I think it's always important to remember that patriarchy is the tool of white supremacy. And so if you consider yourself a person who is pro-Black and for Black people, then you also have to do a lot of unlearning and relearning about all the insidious ways in which white supremacy impacts our interpersonal relationships between each other, Black men and Black women.
Woo!
Yes, in the building.
Woo! Child, look, I can't even follow that up. So go ahead on, Chan. You smoking? You want all the smoke, and you make valid points. I mean, at the end of the day, things like this can be extremely divisive, especially when we start putting people on pedestals. And obviously, if you put this person on a pedestal, you expect them to have some kind of ethics. But to change, to Simone's point, people will profit, and people are profiting off of the patriarchal air of the world, because I didn't even think of it from that viewpoint. But at the end of the day, you know, a lot of men do feel like there should be some type of submissive, subservient attitude in most women, especially Black women. That's just keeping it a buck, whether you want to own it or not own it. Because even when his wife, now, did you guys get the chance to see the response, the rebuttal?
I did. And to that, what I will say is I'm putting sis on my altar and calling on the ancestors to come do their work on her behalf. That's all I'm gonna say about that, because I think that a lot of what we've seen, particularly in response to her shitty husband, you know, has been met with a lot of vitriol. Mm-hmm. And I've been saying a lot lately, trying to move forward with space and grace. Mm-hmm. And so I won't make her become, you know, the person who stands and answers in judgment for the shit her husband did. And so I won't participate in any, you know, negative talk about her, because this isn't about her. It was something that was done to her. And I think often we forget when we're in this situation, we want to be able to point and name and blame. And she does not deserve that.
Okay, I agree with you.
I agree to an extent.
I'm about to say, I agree
to an extent, and I'm gonna tell you, I agree with the fact that she does not deserve all the critiques and criticism and, you know, the games and the names and all that stuff that she's incurred. I definitely do. It washes away his quote unquote sins, right? Absolutely and completely, because now she's become the butt of his joke. However, I can list 100 things that I would rather do than sit on camera holding this man's hand and proclaiming the blood of God, okay, over why he chose to do what he did. That part, sis. I can name 100 other things I would rather do.
I mean, if we're talking about rather do, then yeah.
No, I'm just saying, because the other thing, to your point though, I'll tell you, to your point, the reason why I agree is because I feel like in a lot of ways we force the hands of women to play that part. Every woman we've seen who makes a decision, who makes a decision to keep their relationship intact after some crazy, you know, tale of events that have occurred publicly, we force them to make a decision. Either she completely ostracizes him, or she's forced to cuddle up and snuggle up, you know, for the public eye. And I say, fuck that. Yeah. Right. She does not owe the public any of her vulnerability, though. She doesn't owe the public that. Right. So I get that. That's to your point. But what I am saying is there is a lot of people on that IG live that she did who are also clinicians that were offering sis free help, for free. I wasn't one of them. For free. Yeah, because everybody pay for me that sees the problems. No, not even the fact that this man stepped out their marriage. I mean, no, sis has completely gone off the deep end. Yes. Right. And it's an indoctrination. No. Boo. Look, the sandals of peace. Okay. The sandals of peace. Okay. What? So I understand that. See, this shit is out of control. I can't even focus. This nonsense right here. But the indoctrination.
But that's the part that I think people are seeing it, right? People are seeing it. When you go on the IG live, people was like, blink twice if you need help, sis.
Absolutely. I was one of them.
But I think that there is a point where this indoctrination speaks louder than sound judgment. And I think that she is at that mark where the things she's been socialized to believe about marriage and relationships speak louder than any of the, backlash that she unfortunately is receiving as a result of his actions.
I agree. But I'm also concerned about whether or not he found her in that condition and brought her in, or is this some Stockholm syndrome shit? Right? Has this occurred after their relationship began? Right?
Well, it's funny. I'm gonna go back.
No, it is shit.
I'm gonna go back. Hold on. I'm gonna go back to this meme. Because honestly, they did it as a joke, but we've seen, especially in entertainment, abusive men who have manipulated. Now, Meek, give me your professional opinion. His body language, and I know this is kind of of all the screenshots to take, this is probably one of the most damning ones. but it says a lot. His body language versus her body language. What do you see?
I see, I definitely think that he is manipulative. I think that she also drank the Kool-Aid though, right? Because she, is with this figure, which in one of her IG lives, she said basically that, she's not in the spotlight. She's not the spotlight type. She kind of left that for him to do. But I think that you can see that, her self-esteem is greatly impacted if it had not already been so. You can see that she's trying to, kind of hold on to whatever it is that the ruse, basically. And I think that he's trying to coach her and coerce her into doing so. And so I think that there is a certain level of, like I said, further manipulation. I'm looking at how tightly he's holding her hand with both hands, how he's pressed kind of like firmly up against her body. We only could imagine what the conversation looked like before they got started, what it looked like after. All of these things are like what you said. I said, call it what it is. It definitely is abusive. It definitely is abusive.
Shout out to Dreanis. I definitely want to give credit to the artist. And this is kind of the depiction, his artistic depiction of that scenario. And a lot of people genuinely agree. Now, I think one of the more telling things is the fact that he tried to sell his book.
Yeah, I was about to say that. I thought that was one of the trashiest, shittiest things of this fiasco, is that not only am I gonna, do some, horrible shit to my wife, drag her into the limelight and make her, put her on the receiving end of the backlash that I should get. But on top of that, buy my book, bitches.
Buy my book.
Capitalizing off of her pain, essentially.
Yes.
Capitalizing off her pain.
Now I'm going to get look, y'all. I'm here as the messenger. I want to re-emphasize that before y'all call, because I'm about to open these phone lines. Do not jump down Kurt's throat. But I gotta talk about these things.
Don't be scared. Don't be scared.
And I gotta say, look, you don't understand. I got warriors out here. I don't want no problems. Black men don't cheat.
Around here.
Now, this is one of the things that really stuck out to me when y'all talk about putting blame on her, not allowing him to take ownership for what he did. This came up, her appearance, and it went viral. It says, I'm not saying he was right.
Jay-Z cheated on Beyonce.
I'm just saying, I understand it doesn't matter if you're married. Ladies,
cheated on Halle Berry.
Ladies, if he is successful, other women want him too. And you can't go around looking frumpy when your competition looks like this.
Lies.
Whoo! Whoo! There's a lot to unpack in that one sentence. Once again, this is not Kurt's words. This is the original posters.
Kurt, integrity don't have no designer, boo.
Yep.
Integrity don't rock no labels. Integrity ain't worried about the ass, integrity ain't worried about that.
I agree with you. I'm gonna let y'all talk. I'll add my 2 cents on the back end. Simone, how do you feel about what they? Do you think there is some culpability in keeping him? All right.
No.
All right.
Like my good sis said.
Look, don't give me the sauce. I know.
Just said.
I look, I'm not arguing.
And not to mention, somebody just brought up a good point. We're using this picture of her right now. But there are pictures of her out there where she is smoking fucking hot. And so none of that shit matters for real. Like when you get down to the nitty gritty of it, none of it really matters. Jay-Z cheated on Beyonce. Okay.
Yeah. Halle Berry got punched in the back of the head by Wesley Snipes.
I mean, in the fucking 90s, she was the one that everybody wanted to emulate. The woman that all the other women looked to, the woman that all the men, was like, you know what I mean? Like, so what are we really talking about when we talk about aesthetics?
Right.
He knew who he was marrying when he chose to marry this woman.
And please don't think that the other 2 women look like that all the time. Trust me.
Even
all,
if they did. 'Cause I'm
yo,
not gonna put them
they
down
all
either.
own bonnets.
Even if they did.
I'm just saying it's unrealistic to compare all three pictures because obviously this woman's world was turned upside down. So she chose to wear what she wanted to wear. And even if it wasn't because of that, it's still.
Let's be honest. That's a cute and coy way, again, to blame women for
Right.
the shortcomings of their partners, their
Period.
male partners, because integrity, staying true to the vows and commitments you made to your partner should not be fluid.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, I agree wholeheartedly. And whatever boundaries you set within your relationships, you abide by that, even if it breaks societal norms.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you're moving ethically with the person that you're with and they are aware of what you're doing in these streets. Now, that was the other thing. He made mention that, before we even get to that, I'm going to kind of all right. So I'm gonna bring up the poll we took. A lot of people voted. A lot of y'all voted. I only took the first 100 because my math sucks, and that was easy for me. Just keeping it a buck. I went to King. Don't hate on me.
Don't.
I know. Shout out to King alumni and Lincoln All Germantown because I got kicked out of that school too. All right, so
Yikes.
we took a poll. I took the first 100 votes. The first 100 votes. Now, mind you, both men have been in the news for a lot of drama lately. Derrick Jaxn more recently with his infidelity. Kevin Samuels being accused of being a deadbeat father and manipulating women in a Harvey Weinstein-esque type of scandal, using his power and influence to get sexual favors and manipulation from women. But the consensus amongst all our fan groups and the general public, that's just the first 100. I'm shocked.
I ain't.
56% of y'all feel like Kevin Samuels is more toxic and more detrimental to relationships than Derrick Jaxn.
It's the denigration for me. I can't even get through to the advice because his delivery is so fucking trash.
Now, at this point, I'm gonna open up the phone lines. I'm gonna hit so in case you want to call in, here's the number. Phone lines are open and you will be live on air. Don't ask to shoot out Pookie and them and Ray and Tink just because they got their stimulus. I know what y'all do, but you are more than welcome to call in. Oh wow, y'all wasn't playing. Y'all already here in these streets. Hold on.
Yeah, coochie flies.
Yeah, them coochie flies be hitting.
I hate that word.
Hello, you on with the head nurse in charge? Look, I feel like I'm on Wednesday. Lord in heaven.
Brother, it's not Wednesday, it's Thursday.
It's not Wednesday. You on with King Kurt. What's good? And you're live and direct right now in the King's Court. Who am I speaking with?
Hey, what's up, Kurt? It's Steve. How you doing?
What's good, Steve? Tell me, what do you think about this situation?
Okay. First off, I'm going to say this straight up. Both of them have the equal amount of trash on both of them. It doesn't matter. But if you're going to be the type of person that's going to go out and give advice and turn around and try to manipulate and use people, and it doesn't matter who you are. Okay, first and foremost, you're not being genuine. Second of all, if you're going to sit there and create these lies, you might as well just live in that spider web of lies. This way we know who you are. We know your address. This way, if we want to come visit you, we'll come visit you at that spider web. Until then, no, thank you. Other than that,
Steve said, I'm ready to pull up on these dudes.
But no. The point is, though, if they're going to sit there and be these so-called advisors, not for nothing, practice what you preach before you go stepping out into the streets and saying, hey, do this, but don't do as I do as I say. No, that doesn't work. You have to, if you're going to say, hey, I suggest you do this, and the third. But then when it comes down to your relationship, guess what?
Now, Steve, let me ask you a question real quick. Let me ask you a question. Now, I would agree with you if these were ministers.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, usually when we talk about religious leaders, we do automatically hold them to a certain standard because we have a guideline within the religion, whatever religion it is, to hold them to. Now, these people are just people on the internet.
Doesn't matter. They should still be held to that standard no matter what.
Okay.
If we hold our religious leaders, or we hold the political leaders, doesn't matter what arena they're in, regardless of the fact, if you're in that spectrum and you're going out there and you're showing face to do this, but then you got all this garbage in the background, guess what? People should turn around, walk away from you, and say the hell with you and not pay any mind to you. You see what I'm saying?
Okay. I get you.
Right or wrong, ladies.
So
Think
yeah,
about it.
I certainly think that.
Ladies know
Well,
what I'm talking
can you
about.
hear? Can you hear him, Steve?
Slightly.
All right. Go ahead, ladies. If you get the ladies a chance to respond.
Yeah, go ahead.
I certainly think that people should definitely practice what they preach, quote unquote. But I mean, humans are human, and they fuck up. And when they do fuck up, they need to be held accountable for their fuck ups. And I think that this is part of what accountability looks like.
All right.
I mean,
and I think Steve is on a delay because I can hear him trying to listen on the back end. So go ahead, Meek, follow up.
So I mean, but like also, where's the discernment? Where's the discernment? So yes, it would be ideal for the people who speak publicly to not only be saying things of truth, but be practicing things of truth, right? That's ideal. We don't live in that world, right? Again, I'll repeat it. I'm a clinical therapist. I've been doing this for about 13 years. I am not married. I speak to married couples regularly. Should they not listen to what I have to say because I'm unmarried? You know what I'm saying? Like, I get that, but where is the discernment? When these people seek me out, they know they are seeking out a clinical professional. They have access to my credentials. They can ask me any questions that they want, even though they choose not to. And I will answer them honestly. This man who popped up, which any of us could do this, right? Any of us could do this.
Yeah,
right?
facts.
At what point do we say, social media, quote unquote, relationship guru, he has some things to say that I might be interested in. I'm going to throw some shit at the wall and see what sticks.
Especially if they paying for it.
Look, I'm still trying to write a book.
Right. Like everything she's saying is dead on right. Both ladies is dead on right on what they're saying.
Yeah. Thank you, Steve, for calling in, bro. We appreciate that insight.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you.
All right, bro. Listen, once again, if y'all want to get more of that insight, y'all go ahead over to Instagram and stop playing in these streets and follow All the Smoke Podcast. Listen, they do this all the time, and they've got some of the most intriguing topics. You see, they laugh, so you know it's good, y'all. Y'all know it's good. Make sure y'all head on over there, give them a follow on Instagram, and definitely follow up on all streaming platforms for where you can find podcasts, because it is definitely more than worth the listen. Now, we talked a little bit about delivery and style. One of the things that people kind of hold Kevin Samuels up on a higher pedestal is because he's an equal opportunist. Hold on, we got another caller coming in. Give me 1 second. Caller, bear with me. You know, sometimes you ain't paid the bill. Got to get it in there. All right, caller, you're on with King Kurt, and you're live right now in the King's Court. Who am I speaking with?
It's the one and only, y'all. It's Merjoin.
Oh, Lord. Teffy, you would find a doggone way to get up. No. Teffy, I love it. No. Dead up, because I actually really am intrigued about how you going to feel about this. Oh, wow. We got another caller. Hold on, Teffy. I'm going to just take the other call, but I'm going to come right back. Hold on.
Don't do that to the mermaid baby.
Hello, you speaking to King Kurt, and you are live in the King's Court. Who am I speaking with? Hello?
See, it was meant for the girl.
Yeah.
Yep. That's what happens when you
The
can't put black women on hold. Nuh-uh. Ever. Bet not. Look now.
Period.
Look now. Now everybody, look, y'all can't all burn my phone. Tef, you there?
Yeah.
All right, we gonna just go ahead on. Teffy, let me preface it. Well, you know what? What's your insight on this situation?
Number one, I want to say hi, Meek.
What's up, my love?
Number one.
Okay.
Gotta
You done
say
boo
hello.
loving? Can we get to the nitty gritty?
No, she knows I adore her, and I need the world to know as well.
All right.
Anyway,
I agree.
so-
I'm with you. This is my face right now. I'm not making fun of her, y'all. Don't inbox me saying I was making fun of her.
I was right to your inbox.
Yo.
It's Women's History Month. I'm not pushing this hateful rhetoric.
Is it still Women's History Month? It's still March? Oh, yeah.
It is still March.
Oh, my God. How many more days we got left? All right, come on. All right, talk to me.
All right. So, one, I kind of made this point to somebody else. Yes, I kind of agree with everyone else. They both, they're trash of the same kind. They both golden, hefty bags of, like, bullshit. But Derrick Jaxn, I always be like, he's kind of like Drake, where he sings, where how Drake will like sing to women, like about women stuff. But if you actually listen to the lyrics, the whole shit is about how all he does is like fuckboy shit, and women actually deserve better than to be with him. But baby, don't go. And Derrick Jaxn is kind of like that. He plays on all your insecurities, trying to come off to be this really nice guy, but really you a piece of shit doing dumb stuff. And he tries to make you feel good about yourself, but it's only by like subverting your insecurities. So, and that's how he holds his audience. Kevin Samuels, again, he actually, from the couple clips that I have been able to stomach to watch, some of the stuff I feel like really rings true, but he tries to get his flavor off being controversial and nasty. So yeah, while what he's saying may like have some truth to it, he's also gonna be like, by the way, you fat, you ugly, you got warts on your face, maybe you deserve love, but not with a nigga like this. And it's like, bro, what?
Right.
So it's like, to me, like I said, they're trash of the same, they two sides of the same trashy ass coin. And it's up to people, their audience, to hold their feet to the fire and hold them accountable. The problem that we talked about this on Head Nerds in Charge, where it's
every
like
Wednesday, 8 to 10 p.m.
Right, 8-ish to 10-ish. Listen now, CBT time is real.
Big trap.
The problem is that people have such short memories, and it's like, no. We need to stick to this, hold them accountable, and make sure that they, like, because the only people, you know, they don't have no credentials. They're nobodies that we made famous by listening to them. So if we, the audience, the culture, isn't like, listen, your book not gonna sell because you on some other nut shit, then they just keep getting to get away with it. That's how the Kardashians get over. That's how politicians get over. Like, we, the people, are the ones who have all the power and don't ever use none of it.
Very true. So if you, and I know you say they're cut from the same cloth, I agree with you wholeheartedly, but if you had to say one was more detrimental than the other, who would you say? You know I was going to do it.
I know. Derrick Jaxn.
Woo, but why?
Because the devil you know, because people like to play that the devil you know is better than the devil you don't. And it's like, it's always the person who like dresses up and dresses it up nicely, and they come in close, and they get to come in close to you because they present themselves as such a friend. They're such an ally. so here for you, and they really want to hear your perspective, and they're here to support you, girlfriend, and they're the ones who get close enough to you to stick that knife between your ribs and twist it.
Ooh. Ooh. You get finger
like
snaps for that.
People like Kevin Samuels who come off like aggressive and nasty, you don't let them get close to you because you be like, bruh, I will punch you in your shit. Like, you be ready to fight them on sight. It's the Derrick Jaxns, the ones who try and listen to you and try and play to be your friend. Like, the guy at your job who's like, oh, hey, yeah, you can borrow this, and can I do this? But then when it comes time for you to be like, oh, well, like, thanks, and you try and go, and he's like, well, I always let you borrow my stapler. Can I take you out? Or you should let me do this. You should let me take advantage of you. You should let me force you into a situation you're not totally comfortable with. Oh, because I present myself as such a nice guy. And haven't I always been so nice to you? Nigga, I will cut you. Get the fuck out of my face.
Hey. Zuckerberg be cutting us off for violent threats and all that, but I'm with you. Don't worry about it. I got your back, though.
I'm like what she said. Yes.
I got your back. Teffy, thank you for calling in, baby.
All right, bye.
Bye. All right, caller, you're on with King Kurt, and you are live in the King's Court. Who am I speaking with? Hello? Hi. How are you?
This is Anissa.
Hey, what's good, Anissa? All right, so we talking about Derrick Jaxn, and we're talking about Kevin Samuels.
Okay. First, we all know they're both trash.
Huh.
But
valid.
I read a trash that is not fragrant with perfume and trash that I can identify as trash, which Kevin is clearly trash. My problem is the narcissism and gaslighting of Derrick. That narcissist characteristic of him is dangerous. It's extremely dangerous. And the reason that I say that he's narcissistic is because everything he was just exposed about him, just exposed to everybody that he feels that his marriage, his wife, and he are special enough to work out their marriages after telling everybody else, forget that man. If he cheated, then he's going to continue to cheat and got illegal. But he's talking about healing and all this stuff now.
Right.
So it's extremely narcissistic of him to feel like his marriage is so special that they should be able to work it out. Now, the reason I say both of them is trash is because, for me, Kevin is just funny because he's just an asshole. He's an asshole. And I think it's hilarious. But neither one of them, anybody with sense and anybody with a balance enough self-esteem, and neither one of them are really saying anything that would speak to somebody that already understands himself. All the stuff that Derrick was saying is like, he be sitting up there going off in his damn car, and I'm just like, well, I mean, anybody with a damn healthy state of mind would understand what to put up with and what not to put up with. But he preys on those that, I guess, are at a point where they feel like they need the advice from just anybody, and they want to take somebody off the internet.
Now, Anissa, one quick question before you go. Once again, everybody's saying, Derrick Jaxn, because do you think the fact that he's more prominent with his BS right now, like if prior to finding this out about him, would you still agree that he was more detrimental than Kevin Samuels?
It didn't take for what got exposed for me to feel like he was dangerous.
Got you.
It really did not take for me to learn that he was cheating for me to feel like he was dangerous. The way he stood up there and made it seem like he was putting us women down. First of all, both of them were generalizing things when every relationship is different.
Gotcha.
Everybody's different. Everybody's needs are different. That's how I knew that they were full of it. They generalized everything. And that's what he did.
All right. Listen, thank you for calling in.
Absolutely.
Listen, look, y'all been going ham. Go ahead. Go ahead, Simone.
Can I just speak to
me? Go ahead.
can I just speak to one point? So everything that Tef said, 110% on point. I wouldn't expect anything different. And I love her delivery, by the way. Because I was with her. I was following up. Whenever she ready, I'm following up. I'm just saying. However, when are we going to talk about Kevin Samuels' blatant dislike for women, period? Like, he doesn't like women. He doesn't like black women. And quite honestly, when Tef was talking, the thing that I kept playing in my head was the color purple. Mister, you're black, you're ugly, you're a woman, you're nothing at all. That's literally him in a nutshell with women that he speaks to. And so I'm like, yeah, I get that Derrick Jaxn, what she said about the devil you know who, baby. Okay, absolutely, right? Absolutely. Right. However,
wait a minute, hold on.
Generation for me.
Real quick, no, the caller snuck in the back door. I got just hold on. We're gonna get into Kevin Samuels. Huh? Look now. That's a whole nother show. Now, on the next
court, not all the smoke.
Hold on. Next on the King's Court, pegging. Are you down?
All the smoke.
That's the next topic.
That's next week.
No?
That's
next week. Okay.
That's next week. That's next week.
Send me an invite.
All right. No, that's it. I'm not inviting you to. Oh, you meant to the show. Got it. All right.
It's the no for me.
Caller, you're on with King Kurt. And you're live in the King's Court. Who am I speaking with?
Hi, I'm Shay. I'm 29. I wanted to give my opinion on all of this.
All right, come on, give it to me now.
Okay. My opinion is going to be very unpopular, but I actually like Kevin Samuels.
Interesting. Tell me why.
The reason why is because I appreciate his delivery. I don't have people. You're not going to run into a lot of people in life that are going to tell you like how it is. And before people get on me like, oh, he could be nicer and whatever. No, sometimes you got to shock somebody into changing their life. People think he's about bashing women. He's just as harsh on the men.
Okay, I mean that's a valid response. Can you hear Meek?
Shay,
can I hear you? Yes, I can hear you.
Can you hear me, honey?
I don't think she can hear you, Meek.
I can't hear you. I need to play the audio.
Yeah. If you turn up the audio, then you'll be able to hear, and that way y'all can have a conversation. Otherwise, Meek, just call in the calling number. I'll merge the call so y'all can have that conversation.
Okay. I still can't hear her.
Okay.
All right, but Meek, go ahead. I'll put it like this.
What I really want to know is, Shay, 29. How tall are you, baby?
Okay.
How much do you weigh?
Shay, she wants to know how tall are you.
I'm sorry. On a scale from 1 to 10, you think you 7. How would you rate yourself? What do you do for a living? How many children do you have?
Shay can't hear none of this, but I'm dying laughing.
Other than what's behind.
I said I'm 4'11".
Basically, but how would you feel if Kevin Samuels was critiquing you the same way that he does other women?
Hey, I mean, I could have paid for a personal consultation because that's also an option too. But the price for that type of thing, they want to do it for free. So, that's entertaining to a lot of people. The delivery, when you call into Kevin Samuels' show, what he's about. So I don't understand why people want to get upset and get in their feelings. It's a lot of people, especially in the Black community, they don't want to hold people accountable. They want to, they want to be nice. They want to sugarcoat certain things. And then when you get out into the world, people will drag you. They'll be whispering behind your back, little weird stuff like that. So I can appreciate somebody that can say that. A lot of people discard his messages because of the delivery. And to tie this to the whole Derrick Jaxn, they will eat up what he says a lot more because he's a lot nicer.
You feel like he placates to his audience?
Yes, he does. Each of them has their very own audience. And these people, I feel like, if it don't apply, let it fly. But I can't be offended if I call into somebody's show and they're critiquing me knowing that Kevin Samuels is an image consultant.
Okay. I mean, if you go, look, it's like me going to a BDSM mistress and mad because she hit me.
Yes, that's my opinion.
Okay, I listen. I appreciate you calling in, because that's one of the reasons why this is such a hot topic, because I'm gonna pull it up. This is another comment that went viral about Kevin Samuels. He says, Kevin Samuels tries to tell y'all the truth of the matter. Women, when he says that you don't like it. You say he toxic and wrong. Old Derrick Jaxn tells you everything you want to hear and talks bad about men who have did bad things in relationship. Turns out he was cheating on his wife the whole time, but y'all like the lies. That's why I always tell people no one likes the truth. Woo.
I agree 100% with that. It's true.
But you don't think there's any toxicity in that comment?
Do I see any toxicity in it?
Yes. Do you see any, when I say toxicity, what I mean is, do you see anything demeaning, degrading, or destructive to women as a whole in a generalization type form?
No, I do not. He said y'all. He didn't say y'all women in that comment.
Oh, he was absolutely talking to women. He was addressing it to women.
At the same time, if it don't apply, let it fly. A lot of people, they don't respond to what you actually said. They respond to their perception of what you said. How they felt about what you said to them, not exactly what you actually said to them. There are a lot of people who are unpopular, who tell the truth, and people want to silence them because it's not nice.
Huh. Would you attribute that same line of reasoning to, let's say, a Donald Trump?
No, because
wait a minute. Hold on. All right, go ahead. I'm listening.
Because the whole thing with Donald Trump is
confusion is around the word
race. Oh, okay. I won't say all women, but the majority of women.
Take your time. Take your time with it.
Somebody talking to them, nurturing them, then they will. Somebody just saying like facts or like being blunt, like firing it off. A lot of people aren't used to that. So when somebody hits you with a piece of information that you ain't used to, and you actually consider it, that kind of like shocks you. You know, you kind of have to act in the moment, and sometimes that triggers an emotional response.
Okay, so you're saying sometimes women, because I'm talking specifically about women because it was directed at women. You're saying sometimes women can be emotional and not handle the truth.
Yes.
All right.
Because if I'm hurt, if I feel like you're trying to hurt me, why would I accept what you're saying to me?
Okay. I know. Listen. There are no judgments here. I respect all opinions. I might not agree with all opinions, but I respect all opinions, and that it takes a certain level of boldness to be able to call in and definitely speak your truth. I'm gonna see how everybody else on in the chat and the live. You know, we're gonna talk to Meek and Simone and discuss exactly what you're talking about, because we're about to get into Kevin Samuels. But I really appreciate you calling in and giving some insight.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
No, I appreciate you. Thank you.
Hey, let me just say something really quickly.
Bye-bye.
Go ahead, go ahead, Simone, because she'll hear you on the live feed.
We really need to do a lot of work surrounding unlearning and relearning, because I need for Black people to unlearn this idea that in order for a message to resonate with you, that it has to be aggressive, that it has to be demeaning. We got to let go of that shit, because that does harm. That is violence. When we, subscribe to the idea that a person's words are more valuable and they resonate more because you say it aggressively, that does not ring true. And a lot of that has to do, with some of our socialization and upbringing. But saying that, just because a message is harsh, some people need to hear it like that for it to resonate is pure bullshit.
Meek, how do you feel about it?
It was something that had come up, and I know you're doing the comments pretty quickly, but something that Jackie said, and I'm very much going to paraphrase because I didn't catch it. When you're
used to getting negative responses. Yeah,
we got so abuse becomes normal, right? You start to normalize and become desensitized to what is very much defined as abuse. And so while I don't want to dismiss or bash what the sister said, my point in what I was attempting to do with her was very, very relevant, right? Yeah. It's no way she would have accepted, even behind closed doors, being talked to in that manner.
Black people are the ones famous for saying it's not what you say, it's how you say it.
We came up with that line, right?
But now we're sitting here like we don't be saying that.
But the idea that it's almost like the point was, well, you knew what you signed up for, so you deserve what this man is choosing to bring your way. Hey, yo, I say no. I say no to that. It's no way on God's green that should be allowed to continue. And no, in that regard, why I don't consider the people who participate in this thing with him as victims, right? I don't consider them that. I also don't believe that they deserve the treatment that he gives. And I think it's the reason that we know that it's wrong, that it becomes entertainment, because we are essentially laughing at those persons that we know are essentially, denigration. Like I said, it's the denigration for me. I can't
listen. I think Meek
get to his quote unquote manage. I can't accept it. I'm sorry. And I hear her, but I did think it was kind of interesting and kind of ironic and kind of funny that those same allowances that she made for this man, who don't give a fuck about you, sis, by the way, because you said you 4'11", right? That he would say you only come up to this nigga belly button, and you know what I mean? So what you really there to do? He would trash you, personally or professionally, quote unquote. It wouldn't matter. And so when Donald Trump was thrown into the pot, now all of a sudden, because I didn't get anything you said in regard to that. Okay?
Now, Meek, hold on. We got it.
Let it be.
We got a comment coming in from Twitch. I know. I know. I don't mean to laugh. I'm not laughing because of the situation. It's just I love when the juices get, because these are teachable moments, and these are the moments that we get. We got a caller on the line, we got a comment on Twitch, and we got Meek and Simone giving fire commentary as to what we just had from that caller. First and foremost, before we break down each thing, I just want to say group hug in the chat. Y'all giving out love. And I did just look, hold on, I'm gonna pull this down for a second. And I gotta blow myself up because I want to make this very clear to anybody out there. If you're receiving only tough love, it's not love.
That part.
You can't have tough love if you never include the love. If you're forgetting the love, then all you are is an abuser. All right. Now, with that being said, I got a caller on the line. I'm going to get to the caller last because I want to get your opinion on this comment here. Big Exclusive from the Big Exclusive podcast says, Kevin Samuels speaks bluntly and backs it up with data. In his viral clip, most people didn't watch the whole thing and only focused on the harsh part. He tried many times to tell her cordially, and she wasn't hearing him. So he tried it another way. I guess she didn't want the carrot, so he gave her the stick. To people who say you're only focusing on the negativity of what Kevin Samuel does, what do you say?
I love this man, this black man that did that comment entirely too much.
Yeah, apparently he loves you too, because he's in the chat and says, by the way, I love Meek and Simone. ATS is awesome. He's probably somebody that's a big fan. And
I love this black man. Yes. Okay. And so that's the smoke. That's the smoke. Woo, baby. So I'm not a follower of Kevin Samuels. I only get access to him when essentially he's being
dickish.
Yeah, occasionally. And so I've never not one time seen any of the facts validated that he speaks from. As a matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, there have been times where he's been blatantly disregarded and kind of obliterated in his in the fact checking behind some of the things he says. But because I don't have specific examples, again, I don't really want to speak to that because I don't want to be a him and just be blurting out bullshit. So
I respect that.
I will not do that. However, I do recall instances where I've seen him be totally off base in his so-called facts.
Okay. Now we got a call on the line. Call, I'm gonna tell you right now, I can hear you, but unfortunately the ladies can't. We're not high tech enough. But if you go to my Patreon on headnerdsincharge.com and support us in a Patreon, we can get our money up and we can get these high tech things so that we can hear all the callers and get the homogenation and the mixing and the gentrification. You know, all them funny
synchronicity for me.
Yeah, listen, look, help me help us. So, caller, I can hear you. If you want to hear ATS, you're going to have to turn up your audio after you make your comment. It is on a slight delay, but I just want to give you the heads up. First and foremost, caller, I know you're calling in from Philly, hometown peoples. Who am I speaking with?
This is Bass Seem the Dream of the US for podcast and the CNCG.
My man. What's good with you, bro? All right, so talk to me. Talk to me. Now, you've been in the chat and we've been seeing the comments. Here's an opportunity for you to voice everything you've been wanting to say.
So I didn't initially want to call until Che called in, and the differences between Derrick and Kevin were like on full display, in my opinion, with her giving her comment. In her comment, she basically uplifted basically horrible approach and horrible delivery as long as the message is clean. And it's like, no, because not only did my pastor tell me that was the wrong thing to do, to always check my approach, and then gave me Bible verses to support it. But also, every relationship therapist that I've been to has told me on one occasion or another that your approach is all that matters in most conversations. If you start at the approach, if you start there like, hey, listen, I want to make sure that you hear me, then I got to make sure that I'm not being an asshole in doing so.
Okay.
And if my approach is off, then how can I expect you to hear the message? At that point, I'm literally just preaching to you because I'm talking and you're not listening. There's no way. And most people, like, I think she said something about people were listening emotionally. Yeah, because that's what people do when you rile them the fuck up. They get riled up and now they're listening emotionally. I don't understand why that's not logic. But I don't want to go off on that tangent. Yo, great show so far. I'm gonna go back to being a listener.
We appreciate you, bro. And as always, definitely we appreciate you all calling in. Keep the calls going. Right now, we're talking about Derrick Jaxn and Kevin Samuels. We got Simone and Meek from All the Smoke podcast. If you haven't had a chance, once again, go check them out on Instagram. They are always insightful. And if you want truth with love, you ain't got to get cussed out. You can actually get some actual help from somebody qualified.
Namaste.
I was gonna say namaste, bitches.
Now
I'm gonna stay the fuck over here before anyway. Lord.
Now, mind you, we're about to not change gears, but I wanted to illuminate a fact. We got a lot of comments that came in from our poll. Our poll, you guys really showed a lot of love and were very opinionated. Some of the things were comedic. The fact that Derrick Jaxn is 5'6" is sending me. I didn't know he was.
Well, Derrick Jaxn need to be seen by Kevin Samuels.
Yo,
that's what I want to see.
That's the verses. I said that.
That's what he needs to think about. You're 5'6".
You're 5'6". You're dark. You did I love y'all. Listen, I love dark. I don't want y'all thinking I don't love dark. I love deeply melanated people.
Let's not say we did.
But that's what he gonna say. You got your shirt tight. You ain't made no money on them books. You know you selling them for 50% off. You got 47 of them, and you know he would go in. Now, here go another comment. Kevin Samuels doesn't pander or lie. He tells people the truth, like about weight. This is what got me, because once you start talking about weight, I start side-eyeing.
Hey, baby.
Like about weight. People don't like hearing they are morbidly obese and it's not attractive to men of a certain caliber. Woo! You must not know that BBW is one of the most searched topics in these pornographic streets. I'm not saying that I personally look at them, but don't check my browser history. Y'all, the stuff that y'all
period.
Ebony BBW.
Search my browsing history.
Yes.
Look, now that's next week's show. A couple more comments. Not sure now. You know, they said not sure why Kevin on here. All he does is tell the truth, and y'all dislike his delivery. When he's saying to y'all, he's absolutely talking to women. I'm going to play another clip from Kevin Samuels because I feel it prudent to highlight he does not just talk about women. He does talk about men. This is probably one of his most viral videos. And personally, I might not ascribe to the way he handles things, but this is single-handedly one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life.
A big dick? Huh? You have a big dick? I mean, it's above average. I ain't know Ron Jeremy. No. I asked you if you had a big dick. I didn't say it was above average. I don't know what that is, really. Nigga, you know if you got a big dick or not. Stop the bullshit. Every dude know whether or not he got a big dick. I know I got a big dick. You don't know? I mean, you don't have a big dick. That's the point. You don't have a big dick. You don't have a big wallet. You a fat dude.
Woo! Child. It was the every dude know he got a big dick for me.
You said you're black, you're fat,
you're
you're ugly, you're broke.
Look, I think
you're nothing at all.
I think Mister is probably the best.
That's his nickname for me.
Mister. No, but all right. So the fact that he's an equal opportunist, does that ease some of that burden?
No, we shouldn't be talking to black men like that either.
Okay, listen. This is why we're having a conversation.
Can I just get into this real fast? What the fuck does this man's dick size, wallet, tummy circumference, or whatever the fuck got to do with him being a nice fucking person, a decent human being, an acceptable partner for a companion? What does any of those things? That's another thing that people don't want to get into. He ain't telling no lies. Yo, when did aesthetics become the acceptable? Like, really, like in the public, I know we talk shit all the time, right, about it. But when have we adopted the idea that this is what aesthetics is, what it is, what it's all about? What we go for, how we should define like our relationships. Like, since when is this the cool thing to do? This motherfucker truth.
Since you could get on social media,
child, I'm in the wrong motherfucking field. Okay,
that's when we started saying.
Yo, why you think
denigration is one of my kinks, by the way? So if you want me to talk, if this what you want, if this what y'all like, because I done seen all the men and that one woman defended. What's up? If that's what you, I can give you all that smoke. All of it.
You could get some black femlet.
Listen, this has been a reoccurring thing amongst a lot of the masses. Now, this is somebody who was basically saying the exact same thing. Except for the people who love BBWs, he tells some truth, but not all of it. But he is convinced that there is but his sole perspective. That's his appeal, like a Tucker Carlson. This is his appeal to the certainty while invalidating a plethora of perspectives, some of which can actually coexist with his own.
Facts.
Yeah, he kind of acts like his is the be-all, end-all opinion. As a matter of fact, in one interview, he was asked, for women that are looking to get high-caliber men, what is the best advice you can give them? And his response was, stop, because only 10% of you would actually ever have a chance. Woo! Listen, I mean, he has strong opinions, especially about black women. Now, do you think it's all women, or does he seem to focus more on black women?
I've seen some clips that he's done. I think that his tone and tenor definitely changes when he's speaking to black women. I have seen him kind of quote unquote get at some white women. But I think overall it's women in general. Black women more specifically.
I mean, if he is what's considered the high caliber man that he's talking about, he right.
This is another thing that kind of rubs me the wrong way. I don't know if when he says, you know, 6-figure earner or high income, you know, partner, if he's using them interchangeably, but like 6 figures, that's not a whole lot of fucking money.
Nah.
I know.
Yeah. What constitute a higher end man?
Shout out to something.
Yes. I've been with trashmen and septic bus drivers who make 6 figures.
Period.
I don't know why there's this like he perpetuates this idea that like a 6-figure income is so far, you know, out of the reach,
right,
for average everyday people,
hardworking. Yes.
Yeah.
I that one. Yeah, I have a hard time quantifying what he views as a high end earner. I'm assuming it's yachts, you know, getting flued out, and
a lot of times in his shows he says 6 figures, and so I know people who make 6 figures.
Facts. I guess the other part for me too, though, is people keep commenting on the fact that he's supposed to be a quote unquote image consultant. So that's cool, no, right? If that's his profession, I still don't understand how that relates to, again, the denigration. But again, if that's your shit, keep it pushing. What I don't understand in that regard is why he doesn't dispel the myth that he's a relationship person then. Why doesn't he talk about, then I'm not a relationship expert. I'm not a relationship quote unquote guru. That's not my lane. So please stop trying to put me in traffic and shit. I do image consulting. Because like, he has no problem, you know what I mean, accepting the accolades and shit. Absolutely. That come with being that thing. Right. If you're a particular thing, be that fucking thing and like get the fuck out my way.
You know, it's interesting that you say that because I want people to think of it in this perspective, and this is just my personal opinion. When you say he's an image consultant, I might hire a personal trainer to help me to lose weight. But trust me, if he says get your fat ass in the gym, we scrapping. I don't care. No, we squaring right up. Now, I did hire you to get my fat ass into the gym. That is exactly why I hired you, sir. But you will respect me at all times. But you wouldn't say to me, "Oh, well, Kurt, if you don't like his delivery, you know, you shouldn't go to that gym or you shouldn't have hired that trainer." Just because he's an image consultant does not absolve him from human decency.
Period. I could only imagine how some of my clients would receive and what they would do, i.e. contact the fucking licensure board if you were on my behalf, if I were to have any type of delivery as the such. If I came at them and said, yo, this shit sounds dumb.
Yo. Oh my God. Could you imagine if your doctor was like, I told you put condoms on, and here you come once again with your yam penis looking I'm sorry. But this is what I imagine. Butthole wide open. You went to go see Simone again, didn't you? I told you.
I thought that was next week's show.
I told you. You got to at least do booty kegels before you go over there. You can't just go in there.
Next week's show.
I'm sorry, y'all. Sometimes I get excited. We got to get into the weeds with
you
this
excited?
Stuff. Now, see, don't you do that. That's next week. We'll talk about not with butt stuff. Get out of here. Listen, and to those who honestly feel this way, I would love to get you ladies' perspective, and especially the ladies in the chat. Ladies in the chat, I need your perspective on this. Neither of these lames are qualified to give advice, but it's the last sentence for me. I don't listen to black males anyway.
She said male. Wait, is this a male or a female?
This is a female. I mean, this is a woman. Saying
I don't know what she said. You know how I feel about.
Yo, how do y'all feel about that? How do you feel about opinionated black men directing black women?
I'm gonna need you to elaborate for me.
No, I'm not elaborating nothing. I'm blowing up the screen too. Look, I want to know how you personally feel about taking direction, advice, and insight from black men as black women.
So,
in a general sense,
let me be quite honest. I am of the mind that if the person I am taking direction or advice from is skilled in a thing, then I'm going to defer to that person, right? Male or female. I don't subscribe to the idea that by virtue of a person's genitals, that means that they automatically, get my support or, adherence. It doesn't work like that. if my partner and I, or any person that I am in communication with, is more skilled at a thing than I am, then I'm going to defer to them because of their skill and experience, and not by virtue of their genitals.
That part.
Now, the reason for those that may be wondering, well, Kurt, why you asked that question like that? Because a lot of time the preconceived notion is, oh, black women just don't want to listen to black men.
No.
And that's and honestly, I've heard this used as an excuse in circles with my male friends. Well, now I won't say male associates. And especially in these social media streets, there is this overwhelming consensus. And I think the term most frequently used is black women don't want to submit. Now, we're not even going to get into submission.
Wait, listen, wait a minute, that means something totally different.
I know. No. I know, but this is
what. You don't see me having a stroke over here.
Yeah. Listen, look, but a lot of times, black men, and I've always, and the way I check it is, I've personally never seen a woman have a problem acquiescing to someone she feels is qualified to take the lead in the situation. Not any woman that is of their right mind. You know what I mean? As long as there's nothing.
What I just said. Yeah.
Right. Look, you
Jack, an expert in a thing. He an expert in a thing.
Y'all ain't see me over here about to stroke out.
Look. And Bass said it best. I took that friend word. Yeah, I don't want nobody. Look, I told you, I'm of the Black Men Don't Cheat Association. And if y'all don't know, on the back it says boys do. So before y'all try to grind me up, there's a big difference between black men and black boys. You can always tell in the mentality, not the age. Let's get that out the way. Well, apparently. But now,
because do you have a big dick?
Yes.
I know I got a big dick.
According to Kevin Samuels, that's all that mattered. For a lot of people, it was the hypocrisy of Derrick Jaxn that really hit home with everybody. I'm gonna play this last clip from Derrick, and I just want to get your insight on what's the word? On narcissism.
I have no sympathy who finds it to be difficult to do. Nobody told you to be promiscuous before the relationship, and nobody made you be monogamous with just her. You don't want her? Let another man have her. You've probably been cheating months before, and more times, I would say 9 times out of 10, when the dude gets caught cheating, that wasn't his very, very first way, all the good that you done. Motherfucker, that one slip up might cancel all the shit that you. They'll compare, of course, a standard nobody can meet consistently. That's like a dude taking and she got a 4-pack, and because his woman got a couple extra pounds from having a baby. Meanwhile, he don't know that woman in the picture may not even be able to have children. She may be struggling with that, and I don't think it's quite the case here, according to his wife. Behind the scenes, without anybody knowing. Of course, this part ain't gonna blow up, but he's been putting in the work to kind of reconstruct where that all have been broken since last year. So I don't think it's a double life thing, but you don't know what somebody has. You don't know the shortcomings. You don't know where they're falling short. So compare, on any level. Nonetheless, I know some people will see this type of video. He's come forward. He's been completely honest. Some people are just going to close the book on D. Some people are going to close the book on this dude and say,
close the book on D.
Cancel culture, come here. I'm more so on the side of his wife. And just basically letting this be a new chapter of how I see him, because I do believe a tremendous amount of people, he tells the truth, he speaks facts, and quite honestly, I'm gonna be real with y'all, I've needed several new chapters in my own life. Lord knows
he needed his own chapters.
But I'm no guru. No detail.
I won't. Is allow him airtime to endorse his foolishness. But listen, the unmitigated good on these internet streets.
I wrote a book about it.
For 14 books, you can get all 14 books for 50% off. And he had the audacity to write a book about this very situation. He actually has fiction are saying is his reels, all his indiscretions leading up to this. Before we talked about Stockholm Syndrome, we talked about his wife, we talked about her reaction. No, I don't think that she should. But when you say stuff like this,
and I spill the blood of the enemy. You see a bonnet, I see the helmet of salvation, green shirt, I see the breastplate of truth, the sandals of peace, the sword of the spirit, which is the word of God.
y'all heard? Please don't bring me into y'all.
I already told you I was not going to say nothing bad about my good sis, okay?
Listen,
okay?
Well, you could just talk about her breastplate of righteousness and
the belt of truth, sandals of peace. That part, Janae.
Yes.
Yeah, now explain it to a layman wants to go in.
You is in psychotic breakdown mode.
She is in distress.
She is. Body can't handle attention. The same thing that we're criticizing is her daily experience at this point. And so her level of defensiveness is essentially connecting to this religious outlet.
Right.
And it's sad, yo. Like Janae said, she is. She's broke. She's broken.
And snapping.
Yeah.
Because if the sister is going through that level of mental distress, I think distress.
Yes.
I'm not going to add my commentary on her, though I have but him who the focus should be on. Let's bring the spot relationships and how it's fueling. Okay, when flux of racism. Let's throw
more blatant in the
right. They were keep. I put it like this: they were less blatant, not necessarily an influx, but right.
It was more apparent.
Right. So now it seems like a lot of men are of the mind, hey, we need to do better. But hey, you get what I mean?
All of us fuck up.
Well, we fuck up. We're gonna make mistakes.
Except for that third person bullshit. I couldn't. Issues and shit went out the window. I said, "This motherfucker."
Yo, I have never seen you. They're going to speak in the third person while critiquing themselves about themselves to themselves. No, like I'm the dude playing the dude.
Who he is?
Yeah. Do you know who to do this, bro?
Yes.
That is a level. Listen, and about that. Okay, so there's two sides kind of give their input. There's I cannot believe this nigga. That nigga said the jig is on. What do black folks like? Yeah, that was a lot.
I mean, use love and
we all of me is of the mind that if if your come up already vulnerable, disenfranchised,
it looked like aluminum foil when I
spray some.
Keep it moving. Really. Pick me. Woo! Yeah. Knock down the good one. Play with the other podcast.
That's exactly
Make sure to
what
go.
I'm saying.
Make sure to go over to Instagram and check out past episodes of All the Smoke podcast. Pick me being one of the subjects that you can get into the room and Meek feel about that situation. But we got them here live right now.
Facts. Yeah, Pick Me is not a country in Africa. And I think that a lot of times we get that shit caught up and think that, again, the same criticism that we talk about with Derrick Jaxn pandering, quote unquote, to black women is the same thing that we do when we endorse this type of behavior. You are then pandering to men who don't give a fuck about you anyway.
At the expense of your sister.
So like Simone said, throw her under the bus with the hopes of gaining favor, more favor to men that could care less about you. Matter of fact, the Kevin Samuels of the world.
Yeah.
Woo! Listen. Couple things that just came out of this conversation. Number one, in case you didn't know, for the culture, we just defined what a pick-me is, and I'm putting my double stamp on it, and I think that's a great barometer to go by once we have these type of discussions. Number two, pertaining to those two comments, if you're throwing the side John under the bus, does it still qualify as pick-meism?
I think that when we're in any situation where women are being forced to choose to uphold, the favor and attention of a man, that is a pick me to me.
Period. And quite honestly, who's to say who's the side shit?
Right.
Ho! Baby, man.
Especially in this Derrick Jaxn situation, I didn't even know dude was married for a minute.
Listen,
so I imagine if she wasn't widely, available to viewers on a website, I'm sure it was pretty easy for him to, communicate to other women. Oh no, our relationship is over, or whatever.
He was telling that young lady, according to her,
whatever he was telling
according to her, that he was separated, that they were heading for divorce. That's why he took her to his home. That's why, because he said that. So who's to say? Like, how do you define quote unquote side anything, right?
Right.
Ooh, listen, that right there hits you right in the giblets.
Because if the other person is under the assumption that this relationship is over, you know, then like Meek said, who decides shit?
Yo, a lot of women who think you the main are actually the side. And the side who thinks she the side thinks she's the main. I honestly,
and some people like they entree with meats and sides. What the fuck?
Woo, listen, I could take all sides.
But that's a
personally.
different topic. That's a different topic. That's a different.
But I agree with you because I think we get to a point where this is where ethics come in relationships again, where all parties are aware of what's going on. Listen, we're not unfamiliar with it. We saw what happened with Will and Jada. These are two grown people in a celebrity status. They said this is what we do. I knew. I didn't know. This is what the parameters of what we doing. They went on the red table talk, told the business, and we all stepped back and was like, okay, cool, and kept it pushing. We had a few jokes. Well, we had a few jokes on the internet, and every so often we talk about entanglements. Thank you, Jada. But outside of that, it wasn't like honestly, I don't think their image was tarnished any more or less than beforehand. We got some new information, but you know, that's the wave nowadays. People are redefining how they live their life because honestly, it's nobody's business. So Derrick Jaxn, all he really had to do was say, hey, me and my wife talked about it. I cheated. I'm going to take some time off social media to recalibrate and get my house in order. And then when
he won't sell his books if he did that though.
Listen, don't nobody want them paperbacks. I don't want them paperbacks on cardboard. But you know what? But that's where the capitalism of it all comes in. Because keeping it a buck, he's profiteering not only off of the suffering of other people, but off the suffering of his own wife. And I think that's the part that's the most crazy to me, because how do you put her in front of the camera to be ridiculed to your millions of fans, allow it, and then fix your lips to profit off of her pain? And I don't care what anybody say. He's putting her up to doing these lives. Y'all can't tell me no different. I don't think that she's doing this of her own volition. There's just something not right there. But
where are her people? Yeah. Where's her tribe?
We ask ourselves a lot.
Every time something happens, the first thing I say is, where are her friends? Yeah. Right? Where are your, true people? Where are your tribe? Because like, where her mama at? Where her mama at? Like,
but abusers, one of the first thing they do is isolate them, right?
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. That's absolutely correct.
See, I be knowing stuff. I just don't be talking about it. Because I Googled it when I was researching Ike Turner.
Sexy, but knowledge is sexy too.
Don't make me blush now. Pegging is next week. Anyway, no,
we're gonna hold you that.
No, see, this is the stuff that scares me. This is my thing. All the signs of abuse are there, whether people want to admit it or not. And I'm talking about clinical signs of abuse.
Absolutely.
So in the end, I feel like, me personally, I haven't really given my opinion on who I think is more detrimental, Derrick Jaxn or Kevin Samuels. I do agree both are trash in the way that they deliver their information. Do they say truthful things? Obviously, I think the consensus are we can all agree that there's some truth to it. But I actually love what Bass said. I've been a conflict resolution coach for years, and the first thing I say is you got to say two positives before you say a negative. That is usually the standard in the corporate world. You have to lead with sugar before you lead with salt, and I just don't see Kevin Samuels doing that enough in his delivery. Derrick Jaxn is cavities on wheels. I mean, he giving out the beaties to these people. He giving them all sugar, but then when they find out that it's shit at the bottom of the bag, now you mad. Going forward, when we see these social media gurus, or like I like to call them, the tainted love gurus, how should people be responding to the information that they're disseminating, because let's not play coy. They have millions of people watching them. So in y'all opinion, and feel free to call in if y'all want to, we still got a few more minutes. How should people process that information that they're getting, whether they're entertained or they're looking for insight?
So for me, what I'll say first that if the body of your work in your profession further divides, the relationship or negatively impacts the relationship between Black men and Black women, then it's not for us. And I think that we could spend forever pointing fingers at each other, saying Black men do this and Black women do that. That doesn't move the conversation forward. And so if the person you are seeking advice from has such a, skewed view one way or the other for Black men or for Black women, I think that that's the first kind of clue that this maybe isn't as subjective as I need, in order for it to be applicable to my life. But secondly, I think that it's a responsibility, that is a community responsibility, because there are people in our community, Black men, Black women, who are suffering from mental illness. And I think that when we aren't calling that out and ushering them towards actual effective ethical help, we do the entire community a disservice. And so, yeah, we might, click on videos and shit for kikis, but this is some people's real lived experience. And I'm not trying to be dramatic in any way, but it has real life consequences. And so we can sit here and laugh and joke and all that good shit, but real people are living this in their real lives, disconnected from social media. And so we have to be cognizant of what we're communicating in social spaces, but also, what we're communicating in our social circles when we really connect with our quote unquote people.
Big facts. Everything she just said. I think that it's also important to recognize, though, to speak to your point, is that I don't think these people are connecting to the macro impact that you're describing. I think if they wouldn't even entertain the bullshit that they get from these two men. So I think that that's interesting. However, I don't think it's reasonable or realistic for their fans, right? But on a micro level, on a personal level, right, I agree with you. These are people that are living actual, real lived experience. I think that they are seeking something very specific from these people that's kind of being minimized, dismissed and the like. Because I don't think that either of these two people have anyone's best interest at heart. But I think the bottom line for me is discernment, right? It's discernment. It's literally taking in the information, and kind of like Chase said, she getting a little bit of a bad rap and a little bit bad taste in my mouth. But what she did say is, if it don't apply, let it fly, right? So you listen to a person like Derrick Jaxn, he's going to say things that, in my opinion, for the most part, it's kind of like common sense shit, right? You're going to take the shit in, and then you use to your benefit what works for you, right? But you do have to stay accountable with what you choose to do and how much you choose to absorb from a motherfucker that you saw on social media. Like, let's be for real. You scrolling, you saw it, you got something from it, and maybe you sought them out individually and personally, and that's your choice. But again, it goes back to what I said. Where are your tribe, right? Who is there to back up the opinions and validation and all this stuff that you need from these individuals in your personal life, right? What makes you think that they have your best interest at heart other than what's in your pocket? So for me, it's about discernment. You take what you can get and you throw the rest in the trash with these niggas.
Yeah. No, look. I wish I...
Chew on the meat, but not the bone. That part. I mean, unless it's a big bone. Because is it a big bone? Do you have a big bone?
See? Look, if y'all want all that kind of dope commentary, y'all already know. Y'all need to be checking out their podcast. That's one of the reasons. These my friends, y'all. I just want y'all to know I got the dopest friends. Listen, I got because it's one thing to be able to sit down and really get into the weeds about this and start to break down some, not because, you know, there's some generational issues. Like what Simone was talking about, that divide between black men and black women. Don't get it twisted. This is just another way for them to play on the same division that we've had since the times of when we were enslaved. There has been a very, very blatant underlining division that is being wrought on our people. And just the same way we look at these people and we tout them and we put them on platforms. No, Noah Derrick should not be on a platform. He's absolutely right. Honestly, his rhetoric, in my opinion, is detrimental, though truthful, is detrimental because it's not tempered with true love and reality. Just the same way Kevin said, they build this false world where their information is the only true information, and it does not allow for people to just be human. And that does not mean for my toxic brothers that, oh, I'm human, so I could cheat 47 times and she should forgive me. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is not every cheating man should be vilified for his cheating, dependent upon the situation. And not every man that's doing right is a good man, because there's multiple ways to cheat. Ask my ex. Trust me.
About the good guy too, by the way.
And that and I think that's where we have to come together as a community and just say, hey, how do we go forward from here? That's one of the reasons why we're talking about this. That's why it's relevant. That's why we're even giving these two yahoos airspace, because apparently y'all listening to them and not us, and that don't work. So y'all need to look, bring some of them Patreon dollars over our way. If you want to give something to a platform, trust and believe me, here goes some folks that you should be listening to. Me for geek stuff, not so much relationships. I'm still working that out myself. But talk to them. talk to them, because that's who I talk to. So there you go. I know they know what they're talking about on the third Sunday of every month.
We love a sexy blurred though.
Yes.
It's the X-Hat. The one nigga, goddamn X-Hat.
Listen, y'all already know, for the culture and for the people, this is why we're here tonight. This is one of the reasons why we're talking about it. To everybody that stuck strong with us for 2 solid hours. I'm telling you, I told Meek we gonna do about an hour. We on a second
30 minutes to an hour.
Yo, at best. But once again, y'all kept it popping in the chat. Y'all been calling in. Y'all been steady on the stream. And obviously, this is a conversation that we needed to have amongst ourselves. We had the barbecue. Y'all know what we do. We gonna talk our stuff while we at the barbecue. So even though this is not a regular part of what I personally do on a week-to-week basis, King's Court will be here every so often when the situation arises. I'm like Batman, baby. When the bat signal goes up and there's niggatry going on in these Gotham streets, expect me to put my crown on and bring back the King's Court. And if y'all have any topics y'all would like me to address or you think are pertinent, definitely hit me up and I'll do another version of the King's Court and we'll come together. Also, before we get out of here, I also want you to know I'm a card-carrying member of the Black Men Don't Cheat Club, because black men don't cheat, boys do. So if you are a brother and you ain't out in these cheating streets, by all means, DM me, tell me your stories of faithfulness, and then we'll see if we can get you a membership as well. Shirts on sale at headnerdsincharge.com. That's how you get into it. And if you want to be a part of the Black Men Don't Cheat Club, let your woman know by buying this t-shirt. Amen,
and amen.
Before we get out of here, by all means, lady, closing thoughts on this situation as a whole.
Yikes on bikes.
Listen, you know I was gonna put it out there to you. Look, I mean, I can spin it for you, but I don't want to. Go ahead, y'all got it.
Don't do that. You go. Okay. Yeah, I've said it before. I'm gonna say it again. It's about discernment, right? You take what you can get from these people, and you throw the rest at the goddamn wall. The fact that we're allowing so much investment to be placed into bullshit says a lot about us, quite honestly. And we need to check ourselves, as far as it goes. I still agree with what I said in the beginning of the show. I think that Kevin Samuels, for me, is the more toxic from the two, even though Tough had me. Like, Tough, hey, yo, girl, I love you. Like, I love for real. Like, what she said, absolute truth. He will. Derrick Jaxn could definitely get in a lot closer. But it's something about the public gaze and knowing who's watching us when we talk to each other that kills me, right? And so it's going to be the Kevin Samuels who shows them how we treat and talk to each other. That fucks me up every single time. He's going to be the one that kills me every time. The Derrick Jaxn might be full of shit, but at least it looks like he's trying to have our best interest. So I'm sorry, it's going to be the Kevin Samuels for me.
Ooh, that's definitive. I like that. So Kevin Samuels officially for you, Meek. How about you, Simone?
Same.
Really?
Same.
Ladies, y'all blowing my mind right now. That was not what I was expecting, but I see and I understand. Because
the world is watching. Kurt, the world is watching. And so if all they get is what they see without the actual words, then baby, we are teaching people how to treat us.
I just want men to take a key. If y'all don't take nothing away from this episode, because y'all been admonishing these black women in these streets about their advocacy for Derrick Jaxn. Here are two people saying definitively they feel like, for Kevin Samuels, I'm sorry, advocating for Kevin Samuels, touting him as the guru and your champion, but
But Kurt, no disrespect, and this would be literally the last thing I say.
No, go ahead. Go off.
And I'm gonna say it again. Kevin Samuels does not like black women. I don't care what anybody has to say about that. He has none of our best interests at heart, not black women or black men or the state of black relationships. It is his platform where he gets to use it regularly to demolish black women, and he enjoys it. He literally gets off on it, and you can see it. It shows. And so he loses me right there. Okay. It's nothing that he could say that could ever be my truth because I see it in him. And so I think the people that advocate for him really need to check within themselves whether they too actually like, and I'm not talking about fucking a black woman. I'm talking about do you actually like and love a black woman? And if you don't know the difference, my guy.
Now that lends me to a follow-up. That lends me to a follow-up question real quick. If I had a romantic interest in either one of you ladies, and I said, man, I really do love that Kevin Samuels, though, would that be a red flag for you?
It's not a red flag, it's a white flag.
Yeah, it's a deal breaker.
Throw in the car.
So all y'all men
for me. Another ACS episode, by the way.
Basically, they saying you telling on yourselves in these social media streets.
In my mind, it would be, what's your alignment?
No, elaborate on that for me, Simone, if you don't mind.
So, I mean, for me, I would have to think about, given how I feel about his disdain for black women, there has to be some degree of connectivity between this potential partner and their, how beholden they are to these similar ideologies. And that's just too much of a mind fuck for me that I don't want to do. That's not the kind that I like.
Listen, for those that are just coming in, we were beginning to wind down, but
yes, listen, it's 9:08, sir.
I know. We look.
He's like, give us some more content.
look. Bring me that content. Bring me that content. Listen, no, we getting ready to wrap it up. I just really I want to nail this home that your advocation for Kevin Samuels is essentially you saying you don't want to protect black women. And somebody will say, oh, Kurt, that's an extreme. But that is what we're supposed to be out here talking about.
People miss out on, right? When black women are saying protect us, we're not just talking about the ones you find attractive that you want to fuck. We talking about the fat ones. We talking about the trans ones. We talking about the short ones. Protect black women, period. Not just the ones you want to fuck.
Mm-hmm. Your romantic attraction should not be the provocation for you to want to protect your people. Because guess what? If she's not bae, she's still your sister in some way, shape, form, or fashion. And I think that divide. You actually have changed ladies. You have actually changed my opinion, and I'm speaking from. I honestly felt like Derrick Jaxn was the more toxic and detrimental to relationships. But when it comes to protecting Black women, I don't wear this X hat for fun. Like, this ain't no fashion statement. I truly do believe that should be paramount, is repairing and restoring our relationships first before we could say, oh, you can repair relationships with the outside world. And despite my personal feelings about Mr. Jaxn,
oh, he don't get off the hook for me. I just want to
I know, but
I'm just simply saying from the public gaze.
I love this.
What we have to be considering as well. Derrick Jaxn, if you don't know anything, it's people that didn't even know he was married, right? So this coming out,
I didn't know he was married.
Exactly. I saw the baby seat in the back, so I assume.
I know a few niggas that nobody know they married.
So. You and I both were probably the same motherfuckers anyway.
Don't do it to him.
The thing about it is, taking aside his personal life, right? Because I don't know anything about Kevin Samuels' personal life, nor do I care to know, right? Taking aside that, I can't even penetrate what he's trying to do. I'm saying I'm not giving Derrick Jaxn a pass at all. I absolutely agree, especially off the video the clip of the video you posted. Narcissism on a beam, right? He is like the poster child. I get that, right? However, there are things that he said that were truthful. Right. There are some things that are some takeaways. There are some things that I think are relevant. However, if I just take the people and their stance off rip, Kevin, it's you, my baby.
Yeah,
it's you.
Now, I think for the men, they still feel like, because it's personal, it's internalized for us, because Derrick tears down men, but not in that same derogatory fashion that Kevin Samuels tears down Black women. So fellas, for those who still think Derrick is the more toxic one, and Carlos, shout out to you, because it takes a lot to say, yeah, my opinion changed as well. But remember, even with Derrick, he does denigrate, but not in the same derogatory fashion Kevin Samuels does Black women. He outright disrespects. Like, if he was talking to your mama, you would go in his mouth. No, and that's how you got to think about it. If the way you say, oh, Kevin Samuels, at least he's being honest. If you okay with me being that honest with your fat mama? Because most of us got big mamas. I'm just saying, that's why we call her big mama. So do you want me to speak to her in that type of fashion and then be okay with it because I was telling the truth? Just food for thought.
But really quickly too, and I know I said I wasn't gonna say not a thing else.
No, you can't help it.
Part of the reason why a lot of the men used to have such an issue with Derrick Jaxn is because they themselves, and not all of them, were reformed cheaters. And they're sitting there like, okay, somebody wanted to forgive me, or I wanted someone to forgive me. I was seeking that and I couldn't get it. And Derrick was a little bit more definitive, like, fuck that. They don't deserve your forgiveness. And, he used to go in that way. I never really felt like he was denigrating Black men in the same way. I just thought that he was unrealistic in his approach and thinking behind how we go about these Black relationships. He was just more adamant about Xing people out, about, not accepting certain things, certain flaws, certain attacks against agreements. And so, I thought, I'm like, damn, that's a little extreme in some of his approaches. I never thought he was so far demeaning that it was, one of those.
You'd be surprised.
I do think that a lot of the men that had a problem with him was like,
I ain't gonna front. I'm a part of this Facebook group called the Misogynist Bible. Don't judge me. I'm in there for research purposes. But I'll just say this. When men have a space to say whatever they want without checks and balances,
they say some wild shit.
Woo, baby. And this Derrick Jaxn situation gave me some of the craziest content for this episode tonight, because it's insightful to see a different perspective of men unchecked. So Derrick Jaxn, though I agree and I don't like him, there is still that check and balance that he would say the thing that is truthful and correct, but a lot A lot of men, not just black men, but a lot of men didn't like it because it causes you to have some form of accountability. Now your girl is asking you, yeah, by the way, why are you doing this? Why haven't you done that? Why didn't you hold your word to this? And no matter what he did in his personal life, it still doesn't absolve you from that accountability.
That part.
So, you know, when we go back,
King Kurt.
Hey, no, I'm just saying, when we go back in these social media streets, if I seen you in the comments and I'd say, I'm gonna say something to you because my thing is, after the fact, now that we've had this discussion, we sat down as a family and we all came together, and I concur with the ladies. Kevin Samuels is the more detrimental to relationships and the culture as a whole. I am not in turn advocating for Derrick, but what I will say is, at the end of the day, it's all about what's bringing us together and not dividing us.
That part. I do want to say something really quickly before we end.
Go ahead.
We've been talking almost 2.5 hours about these two shitty dudes and their shenanigans. But what I want to say, especially to Black folks, the only way for us to get through all of the isms and schisms that we experience out in this world is Black love. And so whenever and however we see it, we should share it and celebrate it, because we do not make it without each other. And I think that when we hear stories like this, we lose sight of the fact that we need each other, period. We lose sight of it. And we've spent almost 2.5 hours talking about it. Yeah. And it's overshadowed the fact that we don't get to whatever's next for us collectively. We don't get there without each other. And so we could sit and point fingers and say, Black men do this and Black women do this, but that does not move us forward. It doesn't move the conversation forward. And it doesn't take us to where we need to be collectively to fight white supremacy. And at the end of the day, that is what matters to me.
Period.
By any means necessary.
Look, y'all. For us.
Yes. Listen, y'all, by all means, once again, make sure you check out All the Smoke podcast. The lovely Simone and Meek always dropping that honest conversation, but also insightful, hilarious, and entertaining. Ladies, if you can, just let everybody know all your social media handles and where they can follow you.
So you've been so gracious to put up the IG, and we appreciate that because it's a little bit more complicated. As you can see. So
yeah, I figured so you ain't got to say all the underscore. I know underscore. I said, let me type this in for them because they're gonna get fed up.
We were here first.
But is there other than Instagram?
So we're also on Twitter, All the Smoke pod _pod. My apologies. Facebook, All the Smoke podcast, and our email, allthesmokepodcast@gmail.com.
Listen, y'all, there is no excuse for you guys to, at the minimum, go and give them a follow, share their content, support, because once we, this show is just nothing more than another offshoot from what we do on Wednesdays. It's all about the promotion of Black creatives and changing the narrative in media, period. So when we see something detrimental to the culture, we address it here. When you come and support, when you come in and comment, this is why you get a 2.5 hour show that was meant to be 30 minutes to an hour, because this is not what we usually get. We get sensationalism, we get foolishness, we get love and hip hop bullish in internet form. But instead, we had a meaningful conversation where I feel, internet, yes, right.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, internet form, you know what I mean. Look, we got to come up with new terms for how content is consumed. Streaming. There you go. Whatever, Meek. Ain't nobody see. You're dividing us already. Look at it. This was Black women. No, I'm joking.
It's Friday Eve, okay?
Yeah, we getting ready to get up out of here. And I hadn't said that about 47 times, but we really are about to get out of here right now. Jackie got it, holding it down, giving up all the links. All the links.
Let me tell you something. I gotta run back around with She Essentials. You were talking about that in the beginning of the show. We put that shit on everything. Do you hear me?
That vanilla child.
Yo, that vanilla child.
I use that shit every night.
That vanilla child. Yo, do you have vanilla child? Do you have vanilla child? You got pure shea. If you don't have vanilla
child, what you talking about? I got almond rum. Listen,
don't make me go pull my stash because we can play this game all night.
No.
Let me just say when you touch the vanilla chai, baby, it's like butter.
No. I'm gonna keep it a buck.
It's like butter.
No.
It's for external use only. I just want to be clear. I spoke to her off air about that. It's for external use only. However, I'm telling you, better look. She ain't fucking responsible.
No. I'm about
like
to go
butter.
ahead. No. If we gonna big up anything, fellas, I mean this wholeheartedly.
Ooh, baby, yes.
This right here is the game changer.
Yes.
For men, y'all see that She Essentials. Jack, do me a favor. Go ahead, put your link into the chat so that we can get these Ashy brothers greased on up.
Please.
That cognac, no. I cognac.
Know. I have it.
That cognac.
Well, I have it too. I have it.
It turns heads in these streets. It turns heads. Just the scent alone. Mind you, I'm well oiled and greased now, but I also am fragrant. And
come here, let me smell you.
Look, guys, listen, hold on. When the stream go off, I'm on my way. But
keep it up.
Listen, that'll be on our Patreon. What happened in the after dark of this episode? Look, y'all.
That big bed in the background.
King Kurt about to get live with the ladies. We getting ready to get up out of here. But as always, make sure you check back. Head Nurse in Charge every Wednesday, 8 to 10 p.m. ish. And King's Court will be a regular part of our content. And hopefully we'll get ATS, all the smoke, back into the booth again, because I feel like conversations like these are not only necessary, they're mandatory if we're going to keep progressing the way we want to progress in these social media streets and in life in general, because you can have a lot of key takeaways. There you go. Thank you, Jack.
Yes.
Like I said, thank you for sponsoring this episode. She is simple. I got a list. I got a list. No, y'all didn't tantalize me.
Essentials. I got practice all last season.
My mouth is all watery now.
She Essentials.
SheEssentials.shop. Official sponsor of this episode of King's Court. Definitely go ahead and look. No, brother. I can't share. Can't share. I'm keeping all of mine.
Brother. You got to get your own.
You got to get your own, bro. But like Jack said, we're gonna have encores of these types of conversations, and hopefully this won't be the last collaboration that we'll have with All the Smoke.
Definitely not.
So sit tight. We're gonna be back, and whenever the bat signal goes up for Negro foolishness in these streets. But as always, Simone, thank you. Meek, thank you to everybody.
Thank you for having us.
Oh, of course, babies, of course. And to everybody that's been in the comments, keeping up and trying to keep everything light and engaging. We really, really, really appreciate you. Like I said, the follower count should not be the same. By the time I see this tomorrow, y'all need to go ahead on and support the content that you want to see that represents you. If you're tired of what you're seeing being put out by other people, support the content that represents you. And remember, the content you consume tells us a lot about who you are.
Right.
So I don't want to see you Kevin Samuel fans in these streets talking after we've had this conversation. It's just, at the end of the day, like they said, protecting Black women isn't physical necessarily, but honestly, the support and love that you show behind the scenes is just as important. King Kurt Live, ATS. We love y'all, and we are out.
I love you. I love you.